Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday night. Good to be back from vacation. Means the Titans bye week is over and we are ready to get off and rolling into another week of football. Certainly, the Vols did not have the weekend off, and that's what we are going to talk about tonight over the course of this evening's show. The then number 3 in the country, Alabama Crimson Tide, falling in Knoxville to the University of Tennessee. A game unlike any I've seen in my lifetime. I'm sure many of you feel the exact same way, and certainly big enough for us to discuss at great length tonight throughout the course of the show. We are going to go through the Vols win itself. We're going to talk about where they now rank in the country in the AP Top 25 poll, and we'll do this as a free site as we work our way back into the routine of things. A lot of good stuff to share with you, but before we share all the good stuff with you, I need you to share this show. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you are on YouTube or on Twitch, please throw a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already, and make sure that you tell a friend that we're live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch Sunday through Thursday night. Of course, if you are on Facebook Live, like Ryan Fields or Karen O'Keefe, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Get your Facebook friends involved because we're talking Vols tonight. Not V-O-L-S, but V-A-W-L-S over poor producer Reed's Alabama Crimson Tide. He's handling it quite well in stride. Perhaps we'll hear from Reed at some point throughout the course of the show. If you didn't beat Alabama this weekend, says Ben Hall, I don't want to hear from you. Matt S. says, thought you were on the bye week, but the bye week is over. Today is the end of the bye. I got Vols to talk about. I got Titans to preview. It's Colts week again in the NFL now that we are nearly through week 6 of this NFL slate. So I much enjoyed my time off, but no more time off until after the Super Bowl at this point. We're going to get this thing up and rolling. So that being said, let's go ahead and start. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on a Sunday night from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, if you're unfamiliar, and I'm proud as always to be presented to you by the fine folks at Two Rivers Ford. No matter how you like to shop, Two Rivers Ford has got you covered. Go visit them in Mount Juliet at the dealership or online at tworiversford.com. You can get the intel edge you need to succeed with the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com is where you go for your dream address without the stress with the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. Superbook Sports, where you go to wager on Sunday Night Football as the Philadelphia Eagles score again, on Monday Night Football, on Sundays, baseball, anything in between. Superbook Sports has you covered. And of course, when you need to run off your day of football snacking and couch sitting, you go to TrueMav Fitness, a new way to work out with their 45-minute boot camp style classes that will get you on your fitness journey the right way. TrueMavFitness.com for your first class free. So, in the time that we have been off, the Tennessee Volunteers have done the unthinkable. Yesterday afternoon and into yesterday evening, they upset the team that had won to this point, to yesterday's point, 15 straight games against them. The Alabama Crimson Tide, it took a force of nature. It took a missed field goal. It took recovery by the University of Tennessee that I have not seen in quite some time. A lot of tears from a lot of grown men, women, children, all the same. It was an incredible moment. I was not in Knoxville, obviously, but I was at a bar here in Nashville watching with many, many tortured Vols fans. And I felt the spirit of you. And while being among you, I'm rocking my University of Tennessee pullover tonight from my last trip to Knoxville when they did the unthinkable then. They beat the Florida Gators. So now not only have they beaten Alabama, now we're talking about college football playoff implications because this is the number 3 team in the country. Now, as Nicholas Gerstenberger says, the Vols are back. Hell yes, it feels like 98. This is a legitimate football program that has the ability to compete with anybody in the country. And by virtue of not only Alabama losing, but by USC losing to Utah last night after the Vols game concluded. Now we can start to have some fun. So I want to start with your Two Rivers Ford take here this evening on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Twitch as we talk about the miraculous Tennessee Volunteers. If you're an Alabama fan, I'd be happy to hear from you. If you're just a general college football fan, SEC fan, if you are an unbiased party, your opinions are welcome. Where do you rank last night's Vols win over Alabama on your all-time list? Is it the best game that you've ever seen? Is there a game from your childhood memory that makes you feel like this was something like reminiscent of a certain type of game that you've witnessed in years past? It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it is made possible by the lovely folks at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for the best car buying experience possible. And it doesn't matter how you like to shop, because Two Rivers Ford always goes above and beyond to make sure that you enjoy the car buying experience. Because if you bought a vehicle from somewhere else, you know that it's not always an enjoyable experience, which is why Two Rivers Ford goes above and beyond to make sure their customer service is not only exceptional, but in fact award-winning. The 2023 model year Fords are out at Two Rivers Ford, and as always, you can count on Two Rivers Ford to make purchasing a 2023 Ford fast, easy, and fun. There are so many different ways for you to shop. You can go out to the dealership and visit with them. You can meet with the guy who sold me my 2022 Ford Explorer, Jonathan Whittlick, or any of their non-commissioned salespeople. You can call them on the phone. The number is simple, 1-800-900-1000, or you can head to tworiversford.com to check out their inventory and custom order the exact Ford you want. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So, where does this rank for you among the all-time Vols games that you have seen? Derek R. says number one for games that I remember, but I have a crap memory. At least he's honest. Matthew Williamson says, Georgia fan here. Can't wait for the November 5th game. Go Dogs in Athens. It's going to be rocking, and it should absolutely be a competitive football game. This is right up there with the Georgia Hail Mary game, says David King. Ooh, I would argue. Well, listen, some of you have been around longer than I have. Some of you have paid attention to the University of Tennessee longer than I have. Certainly, I'm in the last probably 4 or 5 seasons. Well, no, really since Butch. So like 6 or 7 seasons. That's as much of a sample size as I've had. Obviously, I've seen Tennessee games prior to moving here, prior to working here and living here, but nothing like I saw last night. Where it ranks for me, I'll tell you in a little bit, but to relive some of the imaging from last night is certainly a sight to see. So that, of course, is Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker calling game on the Chase McGrath field goal to win it. It's a game that the Vols don't normally survive. Obviously, high scoring, 59-42. Turnovers, Hendon Hooker throwing his first interception of the season, and a fumble recovered for a touchdown that I have seen them snowball in the wrong direction so many times over. An offense that overpowered the incredible Alabama defense in a big spot, and a defense that, while they did, Alabama got theirs, right? Bryce Young, no matter what kind of shape that he's in, played exceptionally well. I really enjoyed watching those two as both Heisman hopefuls. One is the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, and the other is somebody who is competing for the Heisman Trophy this season, and certainly will have this to bolster his resume. This is the kind of thing that I think makes this the best Vols game that I have ever seen in my time consuming them. Perhaps you feel differently. Perhaps you've got a longer memory than I do. I don't like recency bias, but man, it's tough to think of a bigger spot, a bigger opportunity, a bigger victory than the one that the Tennessee Vols claimed at home against Alabama, Nick Saban, and Bryce Young last night. Truly spectacular to behold. Bryce Erickson says accurately, Jalen Hyatt never has to pay for a drink in Knoxville again. It's not just that you survive, man. It's that you beat them, right? And I want to get into that, that concept a little more right after I tell you that the primetime show is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. We're doing Vols Intel tonight. If you need real estate intel, the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage has you covered at GaryAshton.com. They are the official real estate agent of the Preds, as I mentioned. They can be your official realtor just as they are mine, because they are going to get you the information you need to succeed, that intel edge that nobody else can provide. It helps you sell your home without any showings or staging. Helps you sell your home for more. Most importantly, helps you find your next home while the market is still hot. GaryAshton.com is where you go for the best in the business. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage at GaryAshton.com. So an absolutely incredible, insane scene. The goalposts both ripped down. One of them ended up in the Tennessee River. The other apparently ended up on Frat Row in Knoxville. We're going to talk to Mike Wilson, who wrote the story on one of the field goals journey throughout campus, or field goal post journey throughout campus, tomorrow on the show. By the way, the radio show is going to be jam-packed, 3 hours of balls. We're going to break down the game inch by inch, detail by detail, with Ron Slay, with Mike Wilson, with Josh Pate of CBS Sports. It is going to be a spectacular event. So I hope you guys hang out with us from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone as we talk about the Tennessee Volunteers and their spectacular path to victory. But that's the thing. It's not that you just survived Alabama. It's that you flat beat them. Now, were there some questionable officiating calls that I know a lot of Alabama fans are quick to point to? I think that non-targeting call on Bryce Young by Amari Thomas, number 21, the big nose tackle? I think that could have gone either way. I truly do. I was honestly surprised to not see them call it, even as I thought, okay, for the most part, they're letting people play in these moments. I also thought that there was a missed pass or an egregious pass interference call on Tennessee that I thought worked to Alabama's benefit. No officiating is going to. There's not going to be a clean officiating game, right? So let's put the refs aside, even as I understand and acknowledge, for the sake of Alabama fans, that they do play a role in the outcome of the game. But you look at this situation and you say, despite all those things, Alabama still made plays. The defense of Alabama made plays. They turned the Vols over twice. Hendon Hooker, as I mentioned, threw his first interception. I think that there were so many different ways to break this down and say, okay, this is the moment where it felt like the Vols could have lost the game. And yet they found ways in all three phases, the field goal kicker included, who hit a bit of a knuckleball that you weren't quite certain was going in until you saw the officials give the signal. All of these things, I thought, contributed to a spectacular performance in the best game that I have seen from a Tennessee team in quite some time. Allie Sorrell says, either Allie or Ali, forgive me if I've mispronounced it. Tennessee versus Florida State for the first BCS championship is the most memorable for me. Peerless Price down the sideline for the win. Nicholas says it was such an ugly kick. I thought that it got affected as he was trying to get the ball off, but it looked like he just hit a knuckleball. Still, he hit the kick that the Alabama kicker couldn't make. And my God, what a real thing Alabama kicker curses are, because I felt for that guy. And it's not the first. I mean, against A&M, he missed a couple of critical kicks that could have put them in a more comfortable position. Obviously, they turned the ball over. Alabama did at a far greater rate with Jalen Milroe as the quarterback as opposed to Bryce Young. But Ben Hall says the Holy Spirit willed that ball through. No, I don't attribute it to divine intervention. Honestly, I think that takes something away from the team and the accomplishment that they had. Listen, if you have religious preferences, I'm not here to tell you otherwise. If you want to believe that there was a higher power that willed that ugly field goal through the uprights, then by all means, if you have something to have faith in, that's how these things go. But I think that the more that you look at these things, you have to give credit where credit is due. Tennessee won the football game. And I think there's a lot of Alabama fans that would be not at peace with it, but look at that and say, okay, yes, there is some officiating that Bama fans disagreed with. There is always going to be a conversation around that, no matter who the opponent is, no matter how accustomed they are to winning, and no matter how rare it is that they lose, like Alabama does. But I think a lot of people looked at that game and said, Tennessee won the football game in ways that Alabama had the opportunity to do so and did not take advantage in the ways that you're accustomed to seeing them do so. And they were pushed by a team that is, flatly, it seems they're equal, which is crazy to say out loud. But, even if they lose to Georgia, there's no question that this is a team that should be given consideration for the college football playoff. And we'll talk about their ranking here in just a second. Who had the bigger meltdown, Robbie Anderson or Tom Brady? I don't care about NFL today. There's nothing in the NFL that interests me as much as this game. So, you can save the NFL for tomorrow. I'm sure we'll talk Titans in all likelihood the rest of the week. But this is too big of a college football game to ignore, and I will not have it distracted from, stupid shit that happened in a bunch of meaningless NFL games of zero consequence to the Tennessee Titans today. Jonathan Ussery says, Buck, look at Lane Kiffin's tweet. I did see the photoshopped mustard bottle hitting Nick in the back of the head as he threw his temper tantrum last night, because he did. You want to talk about temper tantrums? Nick got hot. I've seen Nick get heated in the middle of a game before, but it's been quite a while since I've seen him lose his cool like that. And by the way, he should have, because there were penalties all over the place in ways that I'm not accustomed to seeing from a Nick Saban coached team. All right, let's talk about where they rank, because they are now, Tennessee, the number 3 team in the country, and we will discuss whether that is too high, too low, or just right based on the performance of everybody else this weekend. Let's talk about it together while you guys tell me whether it's too high, too low, or just right. The number 3 team in the Associated Press Top 25 poll. We will talk about the place that is number 1, no matter where you go when it comes to wagering on football, baseball, basketball soon, and hockey this sports season. That, of course, is Superbook Sports. Superbook is the place that you go for the best possible gambling experience. You can wager on every major sport in the Superbook Sports app. You can get your first bet matched up to $1,000, whether the bet wins or loses. You can take the fight to Vegas all in the palm of your hand in the Superbook Sports app. Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So, too high, too low, or just right based on the ranking of the Tennessee Volunteers. Bryce Erickson says too low. They should have bumped Ohio State down to 3 and Tennessee to 2, but now that they are top 3, they control their own destiny. Agreed. Just right, according to David Williams. Last night illustrated why we all love college football. No cries over NFL games like they do games. No one cries over NFL games like they do for games like last night. Absent the Super Bowl, and probably not even the Super Bowl, right? Because there are some 100-year-old traditions in the NFL, the Packers, the Bears. Like, there are storied franchises that have, long-term fan base. But, think about the Titans. Titans are, less than 25 years old as the Tennessee Titans. I know the Houston Oilers go back to 1960, but you understand my point, right? There's not that same embedded, ingrained passion, fervor, legit family ties in a lot of NFL franchises as there are in so many different college football programs around the country. It just says Facebook user, so I'm not sure the name there, but it says too low. Okay, I'll take that for what it's worth. With their defense, this is Borkington. It feels about right. If they win the next 2, then move them to 2. Well, there's not a lot of people that were overreacting to what the Vols did last night, because I thought most of the reaction was appropriate. But Chris Doering, who of course is on the SEC Network, played wide receiver at Florida, as you're well aware, as a Tennessee Volunteers fan. Chris got on the SEC Network yesterday, and he had some strong positions about where Tennessee should be ranked.
I'm going to apologize to all the Tennessee fans on behalf of me and Takeo Spikes. Last night, we both sat up here. We talked about who the midway point coach of the year was, and we both left Josh Heupel off. Josh Heupel has done a fantastic job. He's the best coach in the SEC, best coaching job this year in the SEC, and Tennessee is the #1 team in the country. With that resume right now, They should jump to the top of the rankings and be the #1 team in the country.
So that is Chris Doering, former Florida wide receiver, now college football analyst for ESPN and the SEC Network, saying that the Vols should be the #1 team in the country. And I'm not ready to go there yet. I think head-to-head, Ohio State's offense is still something that would push Tennessee, but I do think that Tennessee is as good as any of these teams. Now, the defense is still a question. The defense who allowed 49 points last night, who may just sweat it out. I know there were some turnovers involved in that. The defense didn't give up all 49 points, but still, there are some clear and obvious deficiencies to what the Vols are right now. But you consider the idea that they were out Jalen McCullough, their starting safety. They were without Cedric Tillman, as they have been for the past couple of weeks. I think that number 3 is quite appropriate. I would say just right for Tennessee at this point in time. I think that if they are to go to #1, they are going to have to earn the opportunity against the University of Georgia. In about a month from now, they'll have UT Martin to, beat up on, for lack of a better term. And then obviously they'll have Kentucky, who they do have a pretty successful record against. But I will say to you that if they want to be the #1 team in the country, they are going to have, it seems ridiculous to say do more than beat Alabama, but man, I really do think that they have to earn it a little bit more. But top 3 ain't bad. You're listening and watching A to Z Sports Primetime from the Superbook Sports Studios, celebrating, many of you, a Tennessee Vols win based off of last night's results. The college football playoff is very much in the picture. You look at the you look at the situation and say the USC loss is as big as any situation outside of Tennessee obviously winning that impacted their ability to do these to have this conversation around them. Ben Hall says, because if you look at it, that vaunted Alabama defense gave up 52 points. The offense is real. Nobody's questioning the offense. I do think that Ohio State and Alabama, frankly, could go point for point with them. Alabama could have, right? They could have won the game on the field goal that they missed. Tennessee ended up making. So let's stay in the moment. Let's stay present, even as hard it is to do, because of course you beat Alabama for the first time in 15 years, 2006. I didn't have my driver's license in 2006. The last time that Tennessee beat a good Alabama team in a meaningful way. It's an incredible streak that they were able to get off their back last night, and I thought that was as impressive as anything that we have seen. Let's see. Buck, you've been smoking penitentiary blunts, bro. Listen, it would the only thing that would do to alter my state of mind is make me think more of the Vols. Now, I was drinking heavily last night watching that Vols game. So certainly, when the beer and the tequila and the White Walker shots at Tin Roof started flowing, your boy was feeling it. But it did not impact the way that I felt. It certainly impacted my morning. But once I got through that morning, I watched that game back, and I said to myself, they went out there and won the game. Good for them. Now we can talk about the college football playoff for the University of Tennessee. That's some pretty nice stuff. Major Key says, I keep forgetting how young you are, Buck. I'm not that young anymore. I turned 29 this year. 29 does not feel like you can call me young anymore. John Glennon of Sports Illustrated still calls me Young Buck every time he sees me at practice for the Titans. And I'm like, Johnny, I'm almost 30. I don't think I'm younger than you, but I feel older and older every day. Anyway, let's do, this is a free site, the best thing that I saw on the internet. There's a couple of different things that I saw that made me laugh, but none more so than Lane Kiffin in the pregame conversations with College Game Day. I'm going to show you this clip if you haven't seen it, and I'm going to ask you, can you finally now, as a fan base, all of you, forgive Lane Kiffin, because you're just now starting to pull yourself out of the cycle that old Lane Kiffin caused. We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that TrueMav Fitness is the place that you go to get your fitness goals started, to get your fitness journey started, no matter what level of fitness you are currently at. they will put you in a position to succeed. They do that with group classes that they offer, about 45 minutes in length, anywhere from 40 to 45 minutes. They give you the appropriate technique. They walk you through each of the boot camp style workouts that they have. They have different levels for you to be able to operate to make sure that you are comfortable while still physically pushing yourself. They're helping me reach my goals of 200 pounds by Super Bowl. They can do the same for you. Your first class is free as a Middle Tennessee resident at TrueMavFitness.com, conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch, right by Peg Leg Porker and Uncommon James. For those of you ladies in the audience who like to do your jewelry shopping, maybe you go get some jewelry, maybe you go sweat it out afterwards, whatever makes you happy. TrueMavFitness.com. All right. Can we all now move on from Lane Kiffin, since he clearly and obviously not only is tweeting trolls of Nick Saban today, but leaning in on his support for the university and the program that he very, very much spurned, almost 15 years ago.
If you think I don't know Tennessee's playing Alabama, I mean, who doesn't know that? So, I don't know what to say except for, hey, let's both beat the state of Alabama today. Go Vols.
There's some profanity earlier than inside now.
They love it.
And just like that, Lane, always forgiven.
So that's Lane Kiffin doing a mic'd up moment for College Game Day in the pregame. Obviously, Peyton Manning, the guest picker, Pat McAfee. It was an insane scene on campus before that 2:30 Central Time kickoff, where Tennessee ended up beating Alabama. Now, Lane Kiffin won yesterday, too. He beat Auburn fairly soundly in a big game. So, Lane likes to troll. Lane likes to needle Tennessee fans, but he is he is truly something. And to see how it has come full circle, it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's been 13 years since we last got him with golf balls and mustard. So, yes, it's Steve in 1986. All right. All is forgiven. He is an A1 troll, man. Mark Dalton says, all is not forgiven. He is a weasel. Yeah, but he's a funny weasel. So I'll forgive him a lot for being Lane, I think Lane is less weasel-ish than he's ever been. I think, he's grown up quite a bit. But I know a lot of you will not be willing to forgive Lane Kiffin. I can't help but love the guy. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Lovely to be back. Lovely to be back at work. All gas, no breaks until Super Bowl is concluded. We are back for the remainder of football season, 5 nights a week on the primetime show, 5 days a week on the radio show, the 615 sessions, the install, everything. We are full steam ahead through the end of the NFL season, to be sure. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Get you back in time to watch the 2-minute warning of this ass kicking between the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys as we sit here tonight. But we will do it again tomorrow night at 8 p.m. if I don't catch you on the radio show starting at 10, where it will be all Vols all day long. See you guys.
All right, we haven't scored a point since I came in here. I am gone, guys.
What?
That's it.
We got a couple more questions.
No,
that's it.
Peace out by the GM.